Now before we get into all of that juicy stuff, I want to quickly recap on this insane build by eTuners India. So if you're new to the channel and you haven't watched the previous video, which is part 1, this is eTuner India's VRS 600 and this is part 2. Now, of course, the color of the car has changed since we last filmed it. It was white in the past and now it's in this beautiful green. Most of the time it looks black, and I'm pretty sure in the camera also it is going to look black, but you have to see this color in person. It is very nice, and like the sparkle and everything in the color is just quality. The paint job has been done here at the Mechanics Automotive, so if you're interested in paints or something, do contact them. The boys over here like to call it JSR green. I'm not sure what the full form of that is, but I don't want to know what it is. Apart from that, it also has some carbon trim pieces here and there. For example, these beautiful looking carbon mirror caps. At the end, Shriram has added the Maxton carbon diffuser. A splitter is also on its way and it hasn't been fitted yet. Apart from that, you can see it has the HRE wheels just like they were in the last video. We were telling Shriram to get them done silver, but that was not possible in the time frame that he had. Behind the HRE wheels, you have TTS brakes. The rotor size is basically the same, 340mm, but the 2-piston brake calipers have been upgraded to 4-piston brake calipers, so that is a big upgrade, and the stopping power is ridiculous. But apart from that, I mean, it's nothing really that flamboyant unless and until you can notice the paint, which is very difficult to notice, at least on camera. It still looks pretty much like a stock VRS, and that's the cool thing about it. It's proper sleeper. So under this Audi TFSI engine cover, which is kind of banter, this is a fully built 2-liter TSI engine and it produces 576 horsepower and around 650 Newton meters of torque. And this is no joke. I mean, it's a fully built engine. Let me pull out my phone just like last time and mention some parts that I did not mention last time. So first of all, some changes have been done to the cylinder head for better airflow and for the exhaust gases to move around a little bit better. So a completely billet aluminum manifold, billet aluminum oil sump. It has a 600 horsepower plus GTX 3076R Gen 2 ball bearing turbo, which is in a IS38 housing hot side. Turbo smart turbo inlet, NGK R7438 spark plugs, you just know the gist. This is a proper built engine. I'll put a list of all of the parts that have been changed right over here on the screen for you to check out, so pause as you go. But this is basically the most insane build I've at least come across. The turbo noise while driving, the spooling noise while driving is just wild. Let's just hop inside before we take it out for a spin. Hop into the interior and you might be thinking that there must be wires hanging, panels not fitting properly, but it's nothing like that. It's pretty much a stock VRS inside because the workmanship is so good. The fit and finish is really nice, and I mean there are a few modifications in the inside as well. For example, like last time I've told you, this beautiful looking steering wheel with the forged carbon, the paddle extenders, the handbrake has been changed to an electronic handbrake, and last time the fitment was not really that good, that's why we didn't show it, but now a proper panel, trim and everything has been fitted, so it looks OE now. There's something over here that I cannot really talk about, but yeah, over the shots I'm pretty sure you will understand what it is. But yeah, overall a pretty standard looking VRS interior, surprisingly no check engine lights or anything like that on the dashboard, and let's take it out for a quick spin.
Hold up, have you checked out our website? TheDriversHub.com is live now with a new segment called TDH Classifieds, where you can list your exotic, performance or even project car and target the right audience. Even if you are in the market to buy yourself a nice car of your dreams, something like this, a first of its kind Scoda VRS 245 with an all-wheel drive system, or maybe something more subtle like this Punto Abarth with a Stage 1 Plus and a lot of goodies. So head on forward to TDH Classifieds and get the car of your dreams.
So now I'm inside the VRS 600. I am going to be driving the car now. So I just wanted to show you how the car cranks and how it feels when you actually start up the car. So push button start, so it's over here. The Idol is like a race car. And I'm not kidding when I'm saying race car. And anyways, I'm pretty sure you guys have seen part 1. And in that, I have told you that this is a fully built 2-liter TSI engine. And the noise, even at idle, that this car makes is unlike anything else I've ever heard. I mean, it idles like a proper race car. And you have this chunky looking steering wheel in front of which has forged carbon, Alcantara inserts and massive paddle extensions. And yeah, so let's just give it a little poke. Smack it into manual. The way this thing builds speed is just insane. Holy shit. I'm trying to think to say something, but I just cannot say anything because this thing is just too wild. I mean, the turbocharger is a GTX 307R something Gen 2, and it's in an IS-38 housing, so it's some mad mix match of parts to get the maximum amount of power out of the turbocharger. And I mean, it's just wild how fast and how brutal the acceleration is. And once you lift off the accelerator, you can just hear pops and bangs, and they're not like normal pops and bangs which you are used to hearing. It's something like a race car. I mean, it's just a race car engine in a normal Octavia VRS's body. That's how insane this thing is. And when it comes to the gearbox, I want you guys to speculate what gearbox this thing is running. I'm not going to say what it is because eTuners India and the master coder Sriram wants to keep it a little bit of an industry secret of what they have done. But I'm pretty sure that if you watch the B-roll closely, you will understand what this thing is running. So if you know what this thing is running in terms of a gearbox, comment down below. The thing is, I cannot push this car too hard because the thing is, it has a lot of new engine work done and the engine hasn't been properly run in, so I cannot show you the full potential of the car. Maybe a part 3 is needed for that, I'm not sure. We might be going to Hyderabad soon to meet the guys who have actually built this thing and cover more amazing stuff in Hyderabad. But till then, I mean, whatever I'm doing right now, that is, this thing at 25% throttle is basically faster than my Laura Stage 2 at full throttle. That's how fast this thing is. And I mean, 576 horsepower out of a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo is no joke. I mean, you need to be an engineering mastermind to make this thing drivable on a day-to-day basis. And that's the cool thing about this build. I mean, this is not some garage queen or occasional race car that Sriram is going to use. He's going to drive this car today from Pune all the way back to his hometown in Hyderabad. He's going to drive it. It's not going to be transported on a tow truck or a flatbed or anything like that. It's going to be driven that much. That's how reliable this car has been engineered to be. And reliable is something that should be taken with an asterisk, of course, because it still is a Stage 3 plus, almost 600 bhp all-wheel drive monster. So you have to be on your tippy toes when you're doing something crazy like what Sriram is doing. But since he's the master coder of eTuners India and he has unlimited resources, he can do whatever the hell he wants. What a car. And the thing is, the best part about this build is that it has a Haldex all-wheel drive system. Primarily, as you guys know, an Haldex all-wheel drive system is front-wheel drive biased. But the thing is, since this car has so much horsepower and so much torque, I'm pretty sure the all-wheel drive system is almost engaged all of the time because that's how much power and torque this thing can build when you are actually pushing it. And the Haldex all-wheel drive system is a must if you're doing anything which is Stage 3, because the power is just so overwhelming to the front wheels that you cannot catch grip, and the torque steer with a 400 plus bhp front wheel drive car is insane. So I mean, it's really not advisable to have a front wheel drive car with that much amount of power. So if you're doing something like this, even if it's a stage 3 build, please do get a Haldex all-wheel drive system. That is a must, even if it costs 10 lakh rupees to do. But it will completely change the way this car handles, behaves, and is just driving in general.
The upgraded TTS calipers deliver some great braking performance, which is a must for something that can possibly do a quarter mile in under 11 seconds. Sriram is currently running this thing on stock VRS suspension, but he has a set of KWs lying around somewhere, but he refuses to install them unless and until some sort of a drag race is taking place. Talking about drag races, when it comes to extracting every bit of performance during a drag race, this car will be completely stripped and the weight sharing will be so serious that the fender, boot and hood will all be replaced with fiberglass panels. Talking about money, Sriram is so deep down the rabbit hole and has spent so much money, he only has lost track. And the amount of parts and spares needed for this build is enough to create another VRS just from the spares.
So this has been our time with the VRS 600, and what are my final thoughts on it? Well, first of all, this is not a build that any normal enthusiast can get up and do. You need to have a lot of resources, a lot of commitment and a lot of money to pull something like this off. That's why it took over 2 to 3 months since the last video came out. Because the thing is, it takes a lot of time to perfect such a complex and technical build. That's why Sriram wanted to perfect this and then only get it out onto the road. This is a car which he's going to drive all the way from Pune to Bangalore where he stays, and hopefully and maybe it will not give him any sort of problems, because these guys have worked so hard in fine-tuning it and getting it to its optimum working condition. And that's why this build is so cool, because it works just like any other VRS on the road, except it can literally blow your brains off if you poke the accelerator a little bit too much. So thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully we'll be creating more content with the VRS 600 in the future. We might be going to Hyderabad, so maybe over there we'll get another video out on this thing. Till then, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Instagram, check out our new website, thedrivershub.com, where we have also started TDH Classifieds, where you can buy and sell cool tuner cars just like this. We have a Stage 3 VRS 245 for sale on TDH Classifieds, so check that out. Till then, this was Soam Saraf. I'll see you in the next one.